Welcome back. Vicky Kelty here, and today we're focusing on Spanish. So I don't have any study stats to share at the moment, but I do have my leisure stats because with Spanish, I'm all about the leisure. So my leisure, what a tongue twister. My leisure stats for Spanish are my daily life. There you go. No, but to give some more specific leisure stats, that would be things like interacting verbally with people in Spanish, watching television in Spanish. In fact, my husband and I just finished a TV show that was set in a funeral home. It was very morbid humor, but but no, it was quite it would it was a mixture of this dark comedy and trying to be lighthearted, but I mean, it's set in a funeral home, so it's only so lighthearted you can be. But that was my Spanish practice for the most part. Let's say my contact with Spanish. My plan for Spanish is going to be coming at you differently, like way differently, if you listened to my French plan. My plan for Spanish is that I am here to rebuild my ability to tell lengthy stories, like the stories I will share in these episodes. Basically, yeah. So, I've lost my expertise at telling these lengthy stories in Spanish. Full disclosure, I have lost this ability because I just haven't been doing it. Yeah. And I have let others dominate the conversation and just kind of sat in the background, nodding my head, expressing inserting little comments here and there. Great listening practice. So my listening is going real well. But I really want to rebuild that speaking because I like to share my stories, and if I am out of practice with it, then I don't feel as comfortable doing it. Then others miss out on an opportunity to get to know that part of Vicky in Spanish. So the challenge with doing this will be doing it. Isn't that always the biggest challenge? Actually doing the thing. So, the way that I will be tackling it is I'm basically going to use my own resources, and I'm going to take the questions from the voice message speaking practice because that's a really solid way to boost my confidence and increase my fluency with a self-study aspect. More so self-study because I'm doing it on my own as versus if somebody did voice message speaking practice for their English with me, they wouldn't be doing it self-study because I would be there to lend the conversation, to keep the conversation going. But with doing the practice on my own, I'm taking the questions, which are in English, and responding to them in Spanish for my own personal use and growth with the language. And then the other thing I want to focus on is to polish up, make real shiny my repeated airs. Not to make them shiny, like help people notice them, so much as to get rid of them, to, yes, like dust them off. The repeated airs are the dust, and I'm removing them. And we can also call them fossilized airs. That's what they call them in teacher training. And it's funny because that term fossilized airs always makes me think of Ross from Friends with his dinosaurs. But Anyways, so I want to focus on polishing up those airs by way of speaking and writing. So those are going to be the ways I tackle those. And the positive is that I do know what errors I've been making. And so I can easily fix them because I can recognize them. Now, the issue is that I have to remember them because I know them when they happen, but I don't have them written down anywhere. So that's going to be one of the first tasks, is basically to use my own voice message speaking practice with myself and pay attention to my recordings. So listen to my recordings and see what errors I hear. And a little tip for you, one of the ways that I can sense that it's an error is because I hesitate when I'm about to say it. And I know that when I get nervous about a certain word or phrase or grammar point, it's because I know that in the past, or I remember in the past, that I have said it incorrectly. So, like, a part of my brain knows, wait, there was a doubt between whether it was this word or this word in the past. Okay. Am I using the right one now? Is this the more accurate option that people are going to understand easily? And so then when I notice that in my recordings, I can jot that down and I'll put it in a place labeled fossilized airs, Ross's airs. Give it some kind of title so that I can easily find it again. And then I'll have a list of those that I can go back and practice. And basically, the next step of how I'm going to overcome those is that I've identified the error, perfect. And it is really good that I can identify them on my own because we don't always have a teacher present. And in this case, for much of the practice that I'm sharing, I don't have a teacher present. I am my own teacher of Spanish and French. And so I'm using all of these outside tools. Now, the self-study things that I'm using, another teacher has created. So in a very real sense, I do have them as a teacher because they created these really awesome materials that I get to use to teach me. So in that way, I do have a teacher, but I won't have a teacher who is listening to my audio and pointing out these different mistakes, or I won't have a teacher who is live saying, oh, this is actually the way that you say it, or, oh, let's take a look at this. So I have to be really attentive to what's going on so that I can identify those specific errors. And every time I do that, then I can use the fact that I've identified it to practice it. And then I'll just practice it in more accurate ways. I will review what I know about it. If it's a grammar point, I'll review that grammar point. If it's a piece of vocabulary that I've been mixing them up, like I used to say, but I did fix this one. I used to say pepper, like the salt and pepper, versus like a green pepper or red pepper. I used to use the wrong one because one ends in an O and the other one ends in an A with Spanish, the pimiento or pimienta. And I would get them mixed up and I could never remember which one. But I came up with a little trick for myself and now I remember them. And so I have polished that air. It's all shiny and bright and I use them correctly now. And so people know which pepper I'm talking about. This is what I mean by using things more accurately. So when I ask people for the pepper, they aren't trying to hand me a green pepper because I'm saying the wrong one. They're handing me the pepper that goes with the salt. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'll practice them with writing and with speaking and I'll keep you updated. Don't worry. I would love to know what little pieces of wisdom you have gotten from my Spanish plan. Maybe it's inspired you to do some things with your English speaking and or to take a look at your airs in a new way. And my motto for Spanish, since this has been not a Friends inspired episode, but had some different elements of Friends in it, my motto for my Spanish plan is you can't just give up. Is that what a dinosaur would do? And that is brought to us by Joey Tribbiani, who gave that advice to Ross. And we will use that today for our own motivation. Don't just give up. A dinosaur wouldn't do that. So, yeah, in conclusion, with Spanish, as I'm an advanced user of Spanish and I'm also living in a Spanish speaking country, and that means I'm regularly in contact with the language. My husband is Spanish, so my in-laws are like there's so much Spanish going on. And I'm regularly in contact with all the skills, listening, reading, writing, speaking. I have the luxury of isolating the one or two skills that I really want to zoom in on and give all my focus to. And so that's just what I'm going to do with my Spanish. Alrighty, that's all I have for my Spanish practice. And tune in to the YouTube lives, of course, and the Friday Fluency videos and all the stuff going on over at YouTube. And always let me know how your language practice is going. Happy studying.